to Snacks and Stacks. Today's snack is all apple based. We have an apple white tea and also this apple slab pie tart thing that I made as breakfast this morning. And it's basically just like an apple pie. Okay, today we're gonna wrap up January. We'll start off with the books, and we'll start my least favorite to my Gush Fest favorite. The first book that I'll talk about that I finished was on my Kindle, and it was called Fireball by Lainey Davis. This is not my favorite book of this month because I don't relate to how quick the characters were just like physically attracted to each other and just like jumped each other's bones. But if that's your thing, this was a pretty good book. We have a woman who is in the STEM field. She basically programmed an algorithm and a program to help scientists collect data, and it has to do with also having this data on the cloud so that the scientist has access to this data. And we have a teacher. It's supposed to be Sunshine, Grumpy. So she's the Sunshine and the Grumpy is the teacher. He teaches middle school. It's supposed to be like a little bit of an enemies to lovers, but I didn't feel the enemies. I just thought they were mean to each other for no reason. And just grumpy for no reason. And then they just jumped each other's bones. So, yeah, that's how I felt about it. I felt that it was okay. And I definitely think it was an easy read. I finished it in like 2 days. From there, I also did not love this book called Breathless by Amy McCulloch. Not sure how to say that. This book was a mountaineering thriller. I don't read a ton of thrillers because I'm a wimp and sometimes they scare me a little bit too much and I can't sleep. So this one though, I thought that for a thriller, it was very slow paced. The pros of this book was that you learn a ton about mountaineering. I thought the explanations were really well written. It really like gave you a sense of what these athletes have to go through in order to summit. And I thought that it was interesting because you got to learn a little bit of the Sherpa lifestyle as well. However, I just felt like the thriller part of it was a little slow, and I found myself pausing the book and not like needing to finish it, like needing to find out who the killer was. I also thought that it was a little bit, like easy to figure out. I think that the thought that you're supposed to be having is, does she have altitude sickness? Is that what's making her so, like suspicious and paranoid? But there's like people dying, very obviously dying around her. So you're also like, well, I don't think she's just paranoid. I also read the first 2 books of this series, of a romance series called the Wallflower Campus series. It's kind of like a college athletic romance book series following these 4 friends that live together. They're all roommates, or housemates, I should say. It was fun. I think the characters are definitely very immature, but they are also just in college. As far as the books go, I thought it was really easy to listen to. I listened to most of these books, by the way. And also I thought that I loved that the guys fell first. That's one of my favorite tropes, is when the guy falls hard and he falls first. So the first book is called Tutoring the Player. The second book is called Hating the Player. The main girls in both of these, like I said, they are friends, but these main girls are actually cousins. And the jocks For the first book is a hockey player. For the second book is a basketball player. Let's go with the first book. The plot is basically the guy is in her science class. She's actually attracted to his best friend, who's the captain of the hockey team. And he, for some reason, keeps trying to keep them apart, and he doesn't quite understand why. And he also asks her to tutor him, even though he doesn't really need it. Then we have hating the player. Our main girl hates this guy because she walked in on him with her roommate. You find this out in the first book. And by walk in, I mean she walked in and he was in her roommate's bed. I think they were naked or he was naked, but it wasn't like she didn't catch them in the act of. And this guy was her first, and so she harbors a lot of hate for him, and they are just very attracted to each other. Can't help it kind of thing. He is in a way just trying to talk to her to get her to forgive him, and she doesn't really want any of that, but she ends up in situations where he's helping her and she's not quite understanding why he's being so nice, because she feels like what he did was like ultimately the worst thing ever, which was sleeping with her roommate. 2 more books, and these 2 books were actually very good. Okay, one more step. I wish I had the cover to show you. I'm gonna implant it here digitally. This next book was just so good. The cover for this book is what drew me in. I thought the illustration of the blueberries was just like perfect. I thought the font they picked was perfect. I thought the whole layout of the cover was like, oh. So this book is based in the 60s, and then travels on to when they are adults. In the 60s, there's this Micmac family. They are berry pickers. They come from Nova Scotia. They travel down into Maine, and they will pick berries for this family, this farmer. And at the age of 4 or 5, Ruthie goes missing. This book is in a dual POV. We have Joe, who is Ruthie's brother, and is the last person to see Ruthie. Ruthie and Joe are part of a family that has 5 siblings, and they are the youngest. And then we follow a woman named Norma, and we follow her from quite a young age to a much older age, same with Joe. And we follow Norma as she tries to figure out why she always feels like she's out of place. So that's all I'm going to say for that part. I'm going to put a timestamp here because I think it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler. But I also am dying to talk about it. So skip to here if you don't want to hear any more about this book and you're like sold, or you just don't want to read the book because it's not your thing. Okay. Okay. The only thing I didn't love about the book was that we don't find out from the author that Norma is Ruthie until much later. However, as the reader, you know it from like the first page. You know that Norma is Ruthie. And I was thinking about this last night because I was like, that's so annoying that the author doesn't say it is for sure what happened until later in the book. But you find out exactly what happens when Norma finds out. And I think that feeling you have from the first page to when Norma finds out, this kind of like weird, like, she has to be Ruthie. She just has to be Ruthie. That must be that turmoil in Norma's mind. Just from when she was like a little kid, having these weird dreams, until she's older, like that must be so exhausting to always sit there, find little clues, and we find these clues with her. And then we get to the point where she finds out, and no wonder she is so mad. No wonder she is just so conflicted with all her feelings. And I think that the author did that on purpose, and I applaud it, because at first it annoyed me, but after I sat with it and thought about it, totally makes sense. My throat just made a weird noise. Sorry if you heard that. So yeah, I thought this book was very sad. There's a lot of sad things that happened in this book. A lot of times I had to put the book down because it was heavy. It's a heavy book. The narrators for this book could be better, but I thought the writing was beautiful. I actually wish I had a physical copy so I could put down some of the quotes in there. Yeah, this book was a beautiful, beautiful book. Very sad though. Very sad moments, and it ends very bittersweet. But I think it's totally worth the read, and I will pick up anything Amanda Peters writes in the future. I also think that this time in history is heartbreaking. The fact that this little girl was taken and the police didn't take it seriously, and they weren't able to find her, and they just ignored them because they were Indigenous people. That is heartbreaking. And that is really hard to accept as just a human being who wants to be caring of other human beings, no matter what type of person they are. So that is a really hard thing to kind of live with and know that happens just 50 years ago. Actually, 60 years ago? Okay. Now, my favorite book of January was Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. I have read a lot of her books. I'm not sure if I've read all of them, but I've read the Spin the Dawn series, and I've read Six of Cranes. I haven't read the sequel, so I haven't read all her books. This is my favorite so far. I absolutely adore Chani. Okay, let me go back. This book starts off as a mom is giving birth and she is dying. This is not a spoiler because it's right at the beginning. Her father goes to try to save the mother's life. He knows that if you take a baby into the woods, into the forest, there is a tiger there that can grant you a wish. The dad brings the baby, but it's actually her older sister. And the tiger says, "No, sir, you cannot trick me like this," and curses her older sister, whose name is Chani, with a serpent face and scales, and says to Chani that if she wants her curse to be lifted, that she will have to bring her sister as like an offering. I'm still thinking about this book, even though it was the first book I read this year, first book I finished this year, and I just love the themes of this book. The themes of sisterly love, of sister bonds, and I think the most beautiful theme of this book is be careful what you wish for, right? Like, magic is unpredictable. And that's what I love about this book. This magic system, magic is everywhere, it's unpredictable. You never know what could happen. You never know how the magical beings can twist your words or change what you think, but it's exactly what you wanted, but not. And I think that that is very witty and very slick, and I just enjoyed the heck out of this book. I love this book so much, it made me want to reread Six of Cranes before I read The Dragon's Promise, because I just want to be in this world a little bit longer. That I love that book so much. So now we're gonna talk about what we watched on a screen in January. First, I will talk about stuff that we've started and haven't finished yet. One is SpyXFamily. If you don't know anything about SpyXFamily, it is about a spy who is put on this kind of long mission, and part of that is that he has to put together a family in order to do some espionage on this leader. And the only way he can get to this leader is by having a family so that he can participate in this school, because the only thing that guy goes to are these school events. So he has a daughter and a wife that he has found and assembled this family. What he does not know is, and a dog, what he does not know is that the wife is an assassin, the daughter is a telepath, and the dog can read the future. And so there goes this story. We have watched season 1, we love it. I have read all the manga up to this point. I also love it. We just haven't been in the mood to watch season 2 as quickly, so we're just watching them as slowly as we can. We are also watching season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. For those who don't know, Jujutsu Kaisen is about high schoolers who fight demons. The premise of this kind of story, I'm not super expert on this one, but pretty much everybody's like anxious feelings, bad feelings, fearful feelings, any negative feelings, those feelings conjure up these curses, and they live among us. So we have there's this one scene where there's a curse on someone's shoulder, and it gets eradicated by the Jujutsu Kaisen person, and she's like, oh, my shoulder's like lifted now. So it's kind of like that feeling, like they all live among us, not all of us can see them. There's a special few who can, and they go to this special school, and they have special different grades. Grade 1, special grade, 2, 3, 4. Special grade is the top, and then you have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 as well. And yes, so you go to school and you learn how to fight them. That's the premise, and season 2, it is this arc is very long, and it's action-packed, and people are dying and getting hurt, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because there's been spoilers everywhere, which is really hard to avoid, but I'm pretty sure one of our favorite characters is about to die, so yeah. So that's that one, and let's see. We're also we're in the middle of, we're like 4 episodes in on this K-drama called Marry My Husband. It is based on a webtoon of the same name. And the premise of this story is that we have a terrible husband, very, very terrible, doesn't work, doesn't contribute to the household, calls her names, hits her, and also is sleeping with her best friend. You find all this out in the very beginning. It's not that much of a spoiler. And he ends up killing her. And so she comes back to life 10 years in the past of that event, before she has cancer, by the way. She's dying of cancer, and this guy kills her. and she decides that she's going to take the second chance at life and do something with it. And she's kind of figured out that anything that happens or is going to happen has to happen. So the example that they give is if someone has like a burn, she was burned, somebody else got that burned because they got that injury. So it has to happen, but she can pass it on to another person. So she's going to try to pass on her husband to someone else, her bad best friend. And that it's kind of like a revenge story. I ate up this webtoon. Like, it was fun. So I would love to see how they adapt it into the show. And the main actress in this is one of our favorite K-drama actresses. So we are enjoying our time right now. We, as in my husband and I. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the ones that we've finished, I think. Let me check my notes. Just kidding. Another one that we're in the middle of, but we're pretty much up to date on, so doesn't feel like we're in the middle of it, is The Apothecary Diaries. Guys, I love this show. I love this show. It's so good. It's so cute. It's like a cozy mystery with a romance subplot, and the main character is the best. Excuse me. She's sassy, she's funny, she is smart, and she's like a little detective, even though she is an apothecary, and there's just something about her that makes me so happy, and I am like really enjoying this show. The setting of the show is Imperial China, kind of. It's like a historical fiction, and you have Mao Mao, she's the main character. She was stolen in the streets and sold as a servant to the palace, and she's like, well, if I tell them that I can read, then the people who stole me gets paid more. So I'm going to pretend that I don't know anything, and I'm just going to work my years here and then get out. So that's her like game plan. But of course, because she's smart and because she can't get herself out of trouble and she likes to insert herself into situations, she got found out that she can read, and so she gets moved into the rear palace, which is where the concubines live, and she becomes a lady in waiting, and she's the taste tester. She's an apothecary, so she actually loves poison. She loves trying to find poison, curing poison. She's kind of like a medicinal person, and the side characters of this are great. The romantic interest is interesting and it's very funny. Right now they are not interested in each other. It's very one-sided. But Mao Mao is a fantastic character. She's actually my phone background. I'll try to find the picture and put it up here because I think that picture is gorgeous. Okay, we did finish a K-drama. It's called What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. It's super cute. It's just a corny rom-com. You have a rich guy and his secretary, and she all of a sudden one day quits, and he's like, what? Why? And he tries to keep her, and in these shenanigans they fall in love. And there's also a drama plot about their childhood and some trauma that they have from something that happened in their past and how they're connected from then. And my favorite part and my husband's favorite part is that there's a narcissistic boss. He's the main guy, and he does this thing where he's like, "Ora!" I just think it's funny. And I don't like narcissistic people. I think they're terrible, but I don't know why, but watching this guy is hilarious. He just says things like, "I'm rich and handsome and I'm very capable. You should marry me." And she's like, "No." It's great. I love it. I don't think this is true, but I have written down that we only watched one movie. That can't be true. I've only watched one movie, I guess, because I've been upstairs trying to edit my videos and work on stuff. On January 1st, I took my son to see The Boy and the Heron, the new Miyazaki film. We went to the theaters, we got brunch, a little bit of a son and mom date, and we watched that movie because we both love animated shows and movies, and we both liked it a lot. I will say, as a person who can be highly critical and have high expectations, it didn't quite meet my expectations. I thought it was a little bit what's going on? I thought the plot could have used a little bit of work. I did look online and read some thoughts of how people think that it's a symbolism for Miyazaki's life as an animator and director, and I can see the resemblance. I just thought that some of the plot lines were like a little disjointed. I felt a little bit confused at points as like, what's happening? My son loved it though. He did not care. He said that the animation was beautiful, and it was. He thought that it was really exciting. He thought it felt really short, even though it's a pretty long movie. And he had a great time. I had a pretty good time. I'm not gonna say that it was my least favorite thing ever. It wasn't. I would definitely buy it and watch it again. I really loved a lot of the animation in it. A lot of the scenes in it are beautiful. I just think I need to rewatch it and try to figure out a little bit more of what's going on. There are parts that were very obvious to me, but there are also parts that I was a little bit confused as to what the symbolism was. And I think I might just need a little bit of a breakdown from someone who is smarter than me to figure out the plot of that movie, or like, what happened? For those who don't know, I kind of just went through all that but didn't tell you anything. The Boy and the Heron is a movie about a young boy. I believe this is back during World War II, and he has lost his mother. He then moves into the countryside with his dad and meets his new mother, who is his aunt. And he then finds this kind of mysterious place. It's a bit of a portal fantasy because he does go into like another world, and he from there is trying to come back, but also trying to figure out some stuff. Like I said, I don't really know the plot of this movie, like some of the stuff that happens and very like what happens. The Heron in this movie is kind of his guide, and the Heron is a very odd character, odd looking character. It's the Heron, but when it opens its mouth, it's this man. And which is totally cool. It's just I'm already not a big fan of birds. They scare me. So there's a lot of birds in this movie, and it's just all very interesting. Like I said, I do think it was wonderfully made and beautiful to watch. I think I just need a rewatch to kind of understand it better. But yeah, that was it. That is everything I read and watched this month, and hopefully you'll let me know what you read and watched. What were your favorites? What did you like the most? And if you're also going to read or watch any of the things that we're watching or have read, please let me know your thoughts on them. I would love to talk about any of the ones I didn't like, the ones I gushed about, or any of these movies and shows that we're in the middle of. Let's chat in the comments or wherever, yeah, in the comments. And yeah, I'm so excited to just keep going. I'm really excited to keep watching the Apothecary Diaries. Even my husband loves it, and it's so cute. That's what I'm most excited about, I think. Alrighty. Bye friends, have a great day.